All right. In this video, we'll be going over the device template half of things in TekWizard. So we're just going to start from the beginning TekWizard page right now. We will select this TekMonitor template we made in the last video, and we'll just go with this device template that has already been selected. Uh, I'm going to skip over the location and settings for this video as we went over that earlier. Now we'll start at the devices panel. So as you can see here, you have a couple fields for various serial devices. Here we have a projector along with some TEKVOX switchers. uh, and over here, we can select the model of TekMonitor we will be using. So from here, you can select the drivers for your various devices for what serial port they're on. Serial port 1 is Tech Security on the Tech 3. Serial port 2 is the COM port, and serial 3 is the Tech bus. If you ever get those two mixed up, if you hover over the ports on this little diagram right here, it will pop up what serial port number it corresponds to. So as you can see here, we got COM port as serial port 2, and the Tech bus is serial 3. Next, we'll be looking into the I/O ports. This is where devices that go on the I/O ports of the TekMonitor will be. Generally, this is something like screen control for projectors, so up and down. And here are the various settings that you'll want to make sure you get right for your particular I/O device. Whether the signal needs to be inverted for it, you can check this box here for that. Whether it needs up, pull, down, which is listed here, as well as whether or not the input is 12 volt or not. And down here, this is for the security LED. That's on the Tech security port. It's the little flashing box part of Tech security. And you generally won't need to mess with this field. Next, we do have some serial drivers for more complex serial ports, serial devices that you can plug into the I/O ports, and you can select a driver for that here if need be. After that, we have the status and control page. This is where you can set up a number of statuses, which you can use in macros and macro conditionals to change how a command works depending on current states. At the moment, this one only has a source command programmed in. But let's add one for system mode. This will be a command byte. And let's just add us a few options for the system mode. So this can be web conferencing mode. and local presentation mode. And there you go. We've added 2 extra system modes, which can be referenced in the code or in the macros, along with the EasyLink section, which we'll be going over next. Here is where we set up the feedback that our touch panels use, so our TCX 7s and TCX 10s. They reference this feedback list to help keep the TekMonitor, to keep the touch panel in sync with the TekMonitor. So in general, you won't want to mess with this too much, but I will be demonstrating as a quick example what to do if you are switching out a display model and how that relates to EasyLink and the macros. So let's get to that right now. So as you can see here, this is a Hitachi CP. Let's switch that to a different model of projector. So to keep things simple, we'll just stick with the same projector manufacturer, but you do not have to. It's set up so it should be relatively easy to change this from any kind of projector to any of the other projectors we have serial drivers for. Let's make it an LP. All right. So when you change the display model of a serial port, you're going to want to go into this EasyLink field and switch out all the old feedbacks with the feedbacks for the new projector. So I'm going to add standby in here, power off here, and power on here. And it is very important that the feedbacks stay in the same location. So as you saw before, it went power standby, power off, power on. It's very important that the order of these commands stay the same, or else that will mess up your room's feedback, and that will present opportunities for your touch panels to become desynced from the room state. So looks like we've got a few more commands in here that I will switch out. And as you can see, I've just been clicking the option I want and dragging it into the list. That's as simple as it is. You just find what you want and drag it where you want it. All right. And there we have all of that, at least for the EasyLink side, sorted out. When I hit next, you'll see it has popped up with some notifications for changed or errors in the macros. This will happen whenever you switch a serial device to a different model, and it will give you a list of what has changed. So this port change, that's just a general the device has changed. And if you double click it, it will take you to the macro in question so you can review it. So we just want to make sure that all the stuff with the old Hitachi looks the same. So we'll expand that. And as we can see, it has translated this command over fairly well. Next, we look at this command. Yep, looks good. And then this. Yes, as you can see here, the old model switched to an HDMI input. This switches it to an HDBT input. So we'll want to go through and edit this condition so that it does what it's supposed to. To edit a condition in a macro, you just double click it. It'll give you a little pop-up window to edit. So we just want to switch this to HDMI and replace that with an HDMI. Simple as that. And then now that we've made a change to our macro, we'll need to hit this apply button. If we don't and try and switch off, it will prompt us to save. So if you don't hit apply, it will warn you before you continue. So I'm going to save that macro, and then we'll just look at the other things real quick. Looks good. Yep. All right. It looks like all the commands have translated just fine over to our new model, and we can go to the next step in this in our device settings. So next up, we can set a number of events. So we have start. The start event is what runs when the TekMonitor first powers on, or if you restart it. We generally program a start macro that does some basic setup, general setup for the rooms. You'll want to leave it at that. After that, there are some options for the various timers that we went over in the settings menu. These are macros that will run when those timers go off, and you can start and stop timers in the macros as well. After the system page is the tech control page. That's an older program that we do not really use anymore and is just here for legacy reasons, so you don't need to concern yourselves with it. Next, after that is device, and you can set macros to run when each device is turned either on or off. You can do that for all of the serial devices on the Tek 3. And lastly, we have inputs. The main one here is device theft. You generally won't want to touch this. We set it to run the device theft macro, which will send an email to the security email that we mentioned in our previous video. Motion, these are the macros that run based off of the occupancy sensor in the room, with motion on being, there's motion in the room, and motion off, there's no one in the room. And then you can also set macros for the other input devices on the I/O port. After that, we have schedules. So our main schedule that we set up is the system off schedule. This will run the system off macro, which will power off all the devices in the event they are left on. And this runs every day of the week at a little before midnight. We set it at 11. If you find for a room you need to push that back, or you want to have this happen a bit earlier, you can do that quite easily just by editing these times here. And as you can see, you can also choose what days of the week schedules will run on. And you can do this for any macro. You can have up to 4 schedules at a time, and you can have them run daily or just have them run once. And it'll have you just select a date and time to run that schedule. And after that, we've just got the finish. So, like before, you'll want to make sure you save the changes you make to the device template. I'm just going to have this be ENG 101 device. Hit. And give me a second. I'm going to switch the model to a Tek PC real quick for the loading demonstration. It works just the same on a Tek PC as it does on a Tek 3, but a Tek PC is what I have on me at the moment. So after that, we're going to want to apply our new settings to a TekMonitor. It will give you a list of the relevant TekMonitors, so TekMonitors of the right model, and it pulls these from the holding area. So we only have the PC, this one, in our holding area. So we're going to select that. And in general, you'll only really need, you won't need to mess with the advanced firmware load options. And you'll just want to select the TekMonitor or monitors you want to load. You can select multiple from this list. And you can also select whether or not it gets automatically moved to the project area. I think that is what we want here. So I'm going to hit save, and it'll pop up this window that will show you the progress as it loads all the driver files and other information into the TekMonitor. This can take some time, generally anywhere for like 30 seconds, like a little over a minute, depending on network stuff and your device. There we go. We've loaded a TekMonitor with our new configuration. I think that will do it for this video. Thank you for watching.